Today we are having a great session on learning about Eastern and Western philosophy on looking at inner self. We really are pleased to have a presenter well known to us to be here with us and to share his knowledge in this subject. I'm also glad to make this happen today and welcome to yet another exciting webinar. Some of the past webinars are also available at our North-South YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our channel and watch them. If you are interested in any topic or you can be a presenter or know somebody who can be a presenter, please let us know at webinars@northsouth.org. We will pursue that further and then bring it to you. Thank you everybody for listening, and then we will move on to the scheduled program. The program is how inner presence can make a difference in your performance, success, and gravitas. We have a very accomplished presenter amongst us today to talk about this and share his knowledge and experience with us. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome Dr. Prasad Kaipa as the presenter of today's session. He is well known to us as he has presented several webinars for us before. In fact, when we started this free webinar initiative a couple of years ago, he helped us to get the foothold by giving several popular sessions for us. He is also an active member of our Bridging the Gap Generation Gap team and has participated in several sessions we brought out in that subject. Dr. Prasad Kaipa is a co-founder of Institute of Indic Wisdom, a 501c3 design studio, a business think tank, and a research organization. He is also on the board of North-South Foundation, Samskrita Bharati, and Yoga Bharati. Prasad ji used to be a CEO coach and a business school professor till 2019. We are really glad to have him with us. And then let me join you in welcoming Dr. Kaipa. Here you are, Dr. Kaipa.
Thank you very much, Desi. And thank you. And I'm looking forward to this session with you. And it's nice to know that even though we said the topic is how inner presence can make a difference in performance, success, and gravitas, and the one-third of you are with looking at work-related stuff, one-third family, and one-third with youth. So based on the population and based on what you are looking at, I will address the seminar today. This is also first of the 3 seminars that we will do this year to touch deeply about how our inner presence, our inner awareness can make a big difference in our families, our workplace, and for youth in making decisions about your career, your progress, everything else. So at workplace, you can say the inner presence is the one that will give you the gravitas and the executive presence, as they call, so that your career development and growth can take place. Let me use the slides that I have. So let's see, can we present my PowerPoint?
Yeah, you're on. You're already presenting it.
Okay, so they are already showing up. Okay, excellent. So I thought I'll start with what is inner presence and how do you develop it as first topic. I will cover broadly first, and I will look at inner presence for work, inner presence for families, inner presence for youth. I will go into some of the steps that you can take, and then we'll go into what can be done at work, what can be done by you, what can be done in families. I will touch upon, because today we will touch upon broadly, and in the seminars that we get later, we will go deep into one of the topics. You can tell me, if you want next session to be completely on family related, we can do that, or work related, or just for youth, we can try to do that. And so today I will mix up a little bit between work, between family and personal development, and what happens when you enable and when you become excellent with your inner presence at work and home, and how is it connected to emotional intelligence, managing stress, and achieving success. These are some of the topics that we will cover today. So let me start by asking, and by the way, when I ask these questions, you can go ahead and respond to me in the chat session. You can write some of the answers if you like. So that way I will know what you are saying, and then I'll take it forward from there. How many of you know what I mean by inner presence? What do you think is inner presence in your mind? Any comments on what you think inner presence is? You can type it in. I will address that a little bit more. And so one person says it is about being mindful, or another way of saying it is it's like a mindfulness is also another way to talk about. Definitely mindfulness is something that develops when we gain inner presence. The other ways you can talk about inner presence means you will develop self-awareness, and you will actually begin to know yourself from inside out. That is what we call self-knowledge. It is not just about what I'm doing in the world objectively from outside, but it is also subjectively knowing yourself, as Vijay also mentioned. So self-awareness, introspection, mindfulness, becoming emotionally intelligent, these are all connected with inner presence. So now let me ask a second question. How many of you are in touch with your inner presence? How many of you are self-aware or have a lot of self-knowledge, and you use it, and you are also mindful when you are making decisions or when you are interacting with other people in your workplace or in your family, and you let your inner presence guide you? So you can respond as we go forward. So by the way, so you are not seeing the second bullet point on the slide. You are not able to see. It is not the slide moving, but within the slide I'm changing the bullet points. Can you see that?
No, we see only the first slide, and then you can also put it on a presentation mode. You can move to the
I am
next
on
one.
presentation mode, and
No,
so
we see your total screen with all the slides on the left and all
I
the
see you are not seeing that.
the
Let's see what is
presentation and
going on. I'll end the show, and now can I?
now I can see the one, but still you can go into the presentation mode.
Now I went into presentation mode. Can you see now slides moving?
No.
It's not moving. Okay, thank you for pointing out.
Now it's moving. Yeah, I don't know. There is some delay probably.
Oh, maybe there is a delay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, so can you see?
Yeah, I can see, but it's not the full screen mode. It's just only the.
I'm in full screen mode. Oh, wait.
There.
Okay, technical difficulty. So how do we use our own inner presence right now to correct it? So
let me see. Can you go into?
I can.
There is on the top slideshow.
Top
menu item.
Top menu item in the slideshow. Let's see.
It says transitions, animations, and slideshow review.
I don't see that.
Okay,
right.
I see them.
PowerPoint. Okay, presentation. This is okay.
It disappeared.
Okay, so it disappeared. Now you should be able to see that, right?
Same thing we see. But that's okay. So we are on slide 4, we are seeing, right?
Okay, so let me do this then. I will
Yeah.
just go in this mode. Can you see the whole
Yeah.
set of slides? Okay.
Yeah.
So I will not use the other things. I'll just use this. So can you read, can you see the next slide now?
Yeah. What is inner presence?
Okay, excellent. So um, um, obviously now we have a good experience when things don't go according to what you plan. Can you have certain amount of resilience, learn from the failures, and have a certain presence of mind to just be here and not get shaken up by what you are trying to do? This is also inner presence, right? So let me check some of these. What is inner presence? I consider that to be who we are, like essence of who we are. That is what we call our unique personality, or like each person has got their own different way of being, sometimes people call it. So that different way of being yourself, being your authentic self, is sometimes connected with your inner presence. So that means there is a personality, there is a body that other people see, but with that body, with that intelligence that you have, how do you show up? Are you showing up as a joker, or are you showing up as a very serious, important person to pay attention to? Is that your personality? Or are you a person who is curious, inquisitive, and you ask a lot of questions without any kind of a self, um, how should I say, you are not worried about how people think, you ask what you want to ask. Those are all different ways of looking at it. In other words, our emotions, feelings, the moods that we demonstrate, the energy with which you engage with things, beliefs, values, everything you can think about are shaped by our inner presence. So this inner presence that we have, whether we can use it or to a certain extent we don't have to use it, but other people will experience it no matter what you do. So that's why I like the simple metaphor of saying electricity is there everywhere, but we don't see electricity as itself, but we see it as lights, we see it as a computer screen, we see it as the network that is allowing us to connect through this distance on internet. So the effects of inner presence, we experience it. I'll break it down for families, youth, and workplace as I go forward. But
Someone is saying, click on the button on the rightmost on the bottom.
Rightmost on the bottom. Here, this one?
Yeah.
Reset background.
Oh, no.
No, that's not the one.
No, full screen mode, I think. That one.
Okay, this is the full screen
Okay.
mode.
Okay. Leave it.
See,
Yeah.
I went to full screen mode, but you are not able to see the slides move through, right?
Yeah, we can see the slides move through, but we see only a part of the screen is slide, and a part of the screen with other slides, number of slides, and one part whether to all those animation
Now,
background select.
okay. So let me.
That's okay. That's okay. Let's go. Yeah.
Let me just do this with I'll make it as big as possible,
Okay.
and maybe that's all.
Can you
for
X
now,
out the rightmost? Yeah, that one.
I'll click this. I'll get it out. So now you can see
Now we are
better.
much better. Yeah.
Okay, good. See, inner presence, because it is inside of us, what we call subconscious or unconscious, the best way we can connect with our inner presence is connecting to our emotions. How do our emotions shape us? Some of you might have seen this movie Inside Out, where they talk about the 5 dominant emotions that play a role, right? So the dominant emotions that we look at in the West, as it is known here so far, are fear, disgust, sadness, joy, and anger. These are, according to the scientists in the West, these are identified very well. Some of you, probably youth as well as adults are familiar with the dance, Indian dance, Bharatanatyam or Kathakali or, Mohiniyattam or Kuchipudi. There are variety of dance forms that you might be exposed to. There, the idea of expressing our emotions is not just 5, but they are actually 9. Some of you who are familiar with this word navarasas essentially means there are 9 emotions that we go through. Rasa in Sanskrit means a flow. It's like a liquid that flows. So the idea is the emotion is like a liquid that fills our inside of our mental frame of mind, and depending on the emotional qualia, the rasa that we feel, our body, our facial expressions, our energy all get shaped by it. And they talk about 9 rasas in our Indian context, not just the 5. Here, for example, adbhutam or wonderment, being, wow, that's wonderful, that's great. That is considered to be one of the emotional qualia, which is not necessarily acknowledged in the Western science at this moment. Similarly, the joy and the fun which we are having, joking with each other, the hasyam is also considered to be very important and one of the 9 basic emotions. And the shantam, equanimity, is also something that is very, very important. And other one which is very important in a day-to-day basis is when I take on a task, when I'm ready to do the job, I need to have a courageous and having a conviction that I'm taking this as a responsibility. I need to finish this project. I need to submit it. Today is Sunday. I need to submit it on Monday, and I'm going to get the best job done, paying total attention. That is called Viram. To a certain extent, to be able to be curious, putting my total attention, and then trying to deal with that is also something very important. Why is this connected with the inner presence? When we know what is the emotional qualia, what is the rasa with which we are engaging with the work or with each other, to that extent, our presence is focused and actually going to bring us all our attention, energy, and capability into doing the task or communicating with you or engaging with you. So the outer work is shaped by our emotional state of mind. Another way of saying, my mindset, my emotions, my feelings, my thoughts and moods will affect how I can get the job done. The important part which we need to remember in this is, in each one of us, we probably know, and sometimes we talk about it and sometimes we don't talk about it. There are 4 inner critiques that actually becomes very, very important in us becoming successful and in us becoming what you might call to be able to pay total attention and get the job done. Depending on what we have gone through in our life, whether it is in school, whether it is at work, whether it is in the family context, if we feel like I am a victim, oh, I'm forced to do this, like some of you who are saying, this is Sunday, I just want to rest, but I have this project to finish up, or I need to clean my house, or I need to finish my homework, or I want to sleep much later, or I want to relax and watch TV. But, if I don't submit this tomorrow, or if I don't finish this up, I'll get into trouble. See, that is called a victim mindhood. In that particular mindset, when you are having a victim feeling, poor me kind of an attitude, that will block my ability to bring my full inner presence and make myself successful in whatever project that I'm doing, because I cannot pay attention to it with choice. I don't have a choice. I don't feel the choice. I feel I'm forced to do it. So the victim mentality will actually prevent me from getting the best out of the job that I'm doing. The second one is a guardian. Sometimes you might even call them a warrior. Like you might notice that if, let us say, your parent or your spouse or your children say something, saying, how come you are not paying attention to this? You are ready to fight. What do you mean you are saying that to me? You are doing it all the time, and then you are blaming me. So it is like constantly watching out for a fight, watching out for danger, and anything anybody says, you take it very seriously and you get into a confrontational mode. That is called a warrior mode. So sometimes when we get in that, or when we see somebody else get in that, they say, hey, cool down a little bit. When you are not in this guardian mode or a warrior mode, let us talk, because right at this time you won't listen to anything, because you are ready to fight whatever I say. You need to watch out for that. This is also another archetypal inner figure that blocks our inner presence to bring out the best in our relationships or at our workplace. The third inner figure, which we need to pay a lot of attention to, is called judge. Anything anybody say, oh, you always say that. Or, you're a parent, that's your role to do. Or you say, you never take responsibility. When are you going to learn to take responsibility on what it is, get up in time, and then do your job without me reminding you all the time? So in other words, judge is a role where we hold suspicion and we make rules for myself as well as for you. So this is the inner critique. By the way, it is not just about judging other people. In our own mind, we feel like somebody is judging us. Like my father has passed away 7 years ago, and I'm 60 plus in my age. But sometimes when I do some things, I hear my father's voice telling me, you haven't grown up, or you're still doing these kinds of stuff. When will you really mature and then become an adult? These are some things what you call a inner critique. They call, either we have a judge within ourselves telling us in as our own voice or somebody else's voice, or we have inner voices telling about what other people. We may not tell our spouse, or we may not tell our boss, our team member, or our child what we are really saying, but we roll our eyes, or we just say various type of body expressions and facial expressions we do, because we are judging and evaluating, constantly labeling either ourselves or other people. This also is a major block to our inner presence. The fourth one, beckoner, means somebody constantly distracting you and taking you away from the task on your plate, whether it could be an email, it can be a message, it can be your phone, and something coming up, some communication that is unrelated to task at hand, that is constantly distracting. Especially these days, with so many social media messages and so many instruments constantly disrupting, interrupting, and helping you to escape your reality, it is very difficult to put all our attention and bring our presence to do the best job that we can for whatever that we have taken on. You might want to think about, as I'm saying it, out of these four, you might want to write down, if you have a small notepad next to you or a pencil and a paper, out of these, which one of the four inner figures dominate your life? Are you predominantly a victim in your relationships at workplace? Are you mostly a warrior? You are ready to pick up a fight and everybody says, oh, calm down, it's okay, peace, peace. Will they say that? Or are you a judge, constantly criticizing, labeling yourself and other people, and you are not fully present, but you are always looking at, hey, you should improve your English. You are making this presentation, but you haven't actually found out how to make a PowerPoint presentation so that it comes through. How come you guys didn't do a rehearsal before you did it so that we can see one at a time instead of your entire screen? All these you could be going through, right? That's a judge. The fourth one you might also want to look at: are you a person who has, as if you you have ADHD, you are constantly distracted, you never pay attention, and everything takes a long time for you. You keep on procrastinating because something else gets your attention. So attention deficit is your biggest issue. Then for you, the beckoner is the number one. So maybe you might want to write down in the order in which you get distracted and your inner presence is not available to you: 1, 2, 3, 4. And of course you may ask a question: is it always going to be the same in all contexts? No. You could also say, when I am at home with my family, this is the order. When I am at work, this is the order. When I am at school or when I am with my friends, these are the orders. So you might want to think about, in different contexts, which of these four is the number one for you to not bring all of your presence to bear. Let's go to the next one. It's more important to think about, instead of looking at the four which distract, which kind of take your attention away, there are four more which are very important to pay attention to, and those can be helpful. I will talk more about it in terms of their role, but first let me define what they are. Each and every one of us have a dreamer. For some of us, the dreamer might not be as dominant as we want it to be. Some of us might have gotten our victim or judge so much that we are not even aware that we have dreams. We think about what we can do, how far I can go, how much I can do. If you are a youth listening to this presentation, what you can be when you grow up, whether you want to be an astronaut, whether you want to be a CEO of your own entrepreneurial company, whether you want to be the best doctor and you want to be a scientist and get a Nobel Prize, or you want to be an engineer and you create your own invention based on your gifts, based on your passion and your interests. What is your dream to be 10 years from now, 5 years from now? If you are a person who is not in touch with your dream, I recommend you take a sheet of paper and actually write down a few things, at least to remind you at the end of this seminar. You will be able to write down your dreams and really go deeper into writing what you want to be 5 years from now or 10 years from now. That is an exercise I highly recommend you want to do. The second one, you need to be your own friend. Like I went to play table tennis a few days ago. When I was playing with a friend of mine, I could not get many shots. And I was actually having difficulty in executing even the game that I know very well, or my serves were not very good, or I was not returning, I was not moving very well. So what was I doing? I was constantly critiquing myself. But what I needed was a friend. I needed to be my own friend, because my opponent is not going to support me when I make mistakes. I need to develop the resilience And I need to look at it and say, okay, that shot is gone, that point is gone, but I'm going to bring my full awareness and my inner presence to pay attention to the next point so that I can do better right now. So I need to trust myself, and I need to be kind to myself, and I need to be affectionate, and I need to embrace myself. If I am not my own friend, who else is going to be? This is a very important part, especially for youth to develop, as well as people who are going through a lot of stress. Right now, Thanksgiving is coming up later this month, and then Christmas is coming. Several times the holidays are stressful periods, and it is extremely important to find your own, in what they call in Sanskrit, Sakhi Bhavam. That means you need to be your best friend, and you need to awaken your own, self-love and self-acceptance, and that is something that you may want to pay a lot of attention to. This is second one which you want to pay attention to. Third one is like the mother. Mother, the role is compassion, because when we were young, when we could not take care of ourselves, first 2, 3, 4 years, mothers play very, very important role in feeding you, in cleaning you up, taking care of you, guiding you, making sure you don't get hurt, and making sure you don't hurt other people. They bring infinite patience and compassion and empathy to take care of you. And chances are many of them continue to show same nurturing, caring, and loving, feeding, taking care of you, even when we are, much older than where we need their help, but they continue to mother us. Of course, there are situations where they, instead of just mothering, sometimes, of course, we also may feel they are smothering us. Mom, stop! I can't eat anymore. Or I'm gaining weight. You can't keep feeding me anytime I come in, giving me all these desserts. I know, you are doing it because I like them. But if you make all those desserts and I will eat them and I will put on weight during the holidays, and then I'm going to curse you when I go back to my office or when I go back to my home. So it is like mothering can become smothering, but if you only pay attention to the nurturing part of it, unconditional love part of it, infinite compassion part of it, that is something we all need, however old we are, whether our mothers are alive or not alive anymore. I think bringing up the mothering feeling in ourselves, if we can bring what is our mother means in the best sense, and if we can bring that mother in us for ourselves, chances are during the tough times, during the trauma period, you will be able to actually recover very quickly, because we all need that mothering instincts to pay attention to ourselves no matter how old we are. Fourth one, a meditator is like, at some level, we went through a big fight. In the heat of the moment, with that large amount of passion that you have, you said things that you shouldn't have said. Majority of the time, what happens? I already said that. That is how I felt, but I'm moving away from it. We rarely ask for forgiveness. We rarely go back and say, I am sorry, I shouldn't have said that. But if they say, but you did say that, you did feel, you can say, I did feel that in myself, but I did not recognize how much that hurt you. I'm really sorry, not because I felt that way alone, but also I did not think about my saying it, my feeling it that way, how much of impact that word or that phrase or that facial expression has on you. Number two, I didn't even know how much power I have in your life and how much you care about my approval and my acceptance and my love, and I underestimated my own influence on you. Forgive me for that. When I am able to be a witness, this is what we call Sakshi Bhavana. When I can be a witness to what happened, and when I can look at what I did wrong and what I could do better, and when I need to seek forgiveness, my relationships improve significantly. This is not just at home, but also at workplace. So what am I talking about? There are 4 roles that we need to pay attention to. Not to forget our dream when we are taking on a role. Do it with the best aspiration and the best hope, and keep your dreams alive in doing whatever job that you are doing. Second, be the best friend that you can be, not only to your family and your friends and your team, but also learn to be the best friend for yourself. Third, if you want to really tap into your inner presence, tap into the best that your mother brought in for you. That means you need to learn to nurture yourself, especially when you are going through tough times. You need to provide that love and compassion for yourself, and give yourself a hug, and feel and remember that you are loved, especially because these days children sometimes do not experience that love. And we have heard of several cases where children do bad things to themselves and to other people, because they do not experience that true love and compassion and nurturing that the mothers bring in their life. So we need to nurture ourselves, and we need to nurture other people in our family. Even if you are a man, or you need to be the mother to yourself and other people. That is third most important, especially as we go into the holiday season. Fourth, you need to learn to be a witness. You need to learn to see yourself from a third person's perspective. So when you are having a conflict, can you not engage too much with your emotions, but keep some energy to look at what's going on between you and the other person, so that you can slow down your interaction, you can slow down your conflict, and catch yourself before you do damage to your own relationship. So these 4. Now take a paper and a pencil and write down which ones among these 4 are you are very good at, and which ones are you not very good at. So write down the list, like 1, I am very good at being a witness. Then put it as number 1. I can be a dreamer. Put it as number 2. Well, I can be a friend also sometimes. Okay, that becomes number 3. I have a difficult time nurturing other people, being compassionate. Yes, I suffer no fools. I don't like actually people. I'm very, straight, and I plays, I'm a straight shooter. I tell things as I am, and don't tell me all this touchy-feely, emotional intelligence stuff. This is all political stuff. So that means I have real difficulty to be a mother, either to myself or other people. That becomes 4. And of course, as I said to you earlier, this may be different at workplace, this may be different at home. You might want to identify which ones are you able to do more in workplace. Separately, you create a list of 1, 2, 3, 4 with your best relationships, family relationships, different order of 1, 2, 3, 4, and with your school or best friends, you can write that. But the key part, what I want you to do is identify where are you, and which ones are you to develop, pick one which you need to develop a lot and pay attention to for next few months. Let me see, are there any questions so far? Are there anything which I'm saying that is understandable, that is not understandable? please feel free to put some in the question box or a chat box so that I can see where you are and what you are experiencing based on what I said so far. And then what I will do is bring it down to some practicality, because we are running out of time, and I will take some questions. In the subsequent sessions, I will go a lot deeper, but I'm going to give you some benefits of inner presence for families first, because you talked about 3 things which you said you want to do, like some for work, some for families, some for youth. I will address each of them at a high level unless you have specific questions which you are going to ask, and then I will dig into them in the subsequent sessions to go a lot further, and I will actually give you some exercises based on what we talked about. We can even create a fishbowl, or we can get into groups, and you can group of 4. One person can be an actor, another can or a dreamer, one other person can be a friend, another person mother, and another person witness. We can actually have these 4-person conversations, and each of you consciously put on the hat of the role that you are taking. And if you pay attention and practice it, chances are these holidays, next group meetings or team meetings will be a lot more. But let me come to right now, what are the benefits of inner presence for families? Here are a list of them. I won't read each one of them because chances are you will be doing it yourself. If I were to be in a presentation mode, I would have gone through each one and I can give you examples of it. But I have a feeling these are simple enough that you can see that inner presence in a family develops a atmosphere of intentionality, that you have a choice. Second, mutual understanding, and also authentic connection, deep connection that you can have in families, because we can listen deeply to each other instead of waiting to complete your sentence so that I can say my piece in. It doesn't happen. Then empathy and compassion, and controlling my own emotions, appreciation and gratitude, and finally resilience, learning from the failures. Together as a family we can do a lot of things. You might want to look at these 10 things which I put, and you might want to write down in your sheet of paper for yourself, out of these 10, which ones do I need for my family to be? And afterwards, if some of you are sitting in groups, maybe there is a way in which each of you can pick 3 things you think you need to bring to your family. And after this seminar, you can discuss it among yourselves, whether their 3, your 3, and the other person's 3, are they matching? If not, you can talk a lot more about it for each other and say, why is that you think these are the most important for you? Okay, please make a note, just 3 things which you want to bring to your family, or which you want other people in the family to bring it to you. All right. So out of this, if you want to put it in a slideshow mode, I can put it in a slideshow mode, but it is not showing in a slideshow mode, Vijay. So that's why I'm in this particular one. I'll try it again. But by the way, I tried to define the inner presence in family context. In the family context, if I were to summarize, it's about mindful stage. Like, again, some of you said mindfulness. How do I become mindful and be in the moment instead of constantly being distracted? So when I sit with other people, can I turn off my TV? Can I put aside my phone? Can I pay attention to each other and actively listen to what they are saying, and not let my judge or not let my distractions drive my relationships? And when they say what they say, can I have resilience? Can I have emotional intelligence? Can I bring in my mothering instinct, witness instinct, and best friend instinct so that I can support them? So what does this do? For families, it enhances communication and mostly reduces conflicts and misunderstandings. And people feel cared for and supported in the family when we bring our inner presence to be a way of expressing and communicating to each other, and it allows us to build strong emotional bonds and create very powerful experiences as a family, and we will stay together even through the difficult periods like holidays, and we will get to a lot more powerful place. How do we do that? I recommend during the next several days, if you can set aside one meal a day, you pay attention while you are eating to each other and to food, and tell yourselves we're going to have meal with a joy, with fun, and enjoying each other and enjoying food. Similarly, you might want to even allocate when there are some issues that are going on, or when you are planning vacation, when you are doing some things, set up some regular check-ins so that on a daily basis you know where people are, whether they had a good sleep, whether they have something important in their workplace or in their schools they're tensed about. Figure out a way to know where people are and what's going on inside of them. And the third and most important, especially during the holidays, if you bring your inner presence, you can actually appreciate and be thankful and be grateful for how each of them are supporting day by day. So one takeaway action item for each of you I suggest is what steps will we take to be more present with each other this week and through this holiday season. This is a question I highly recommend that you discuss at the end of this seminar. Now let me talk about youth. What do youth get when they are more bringing inner presence into their life? They will enjoy because they are fully engaged in the present moment. Second, especially for youth, there is a lot going on inside and there is a lot going on outside. When you become aware of your feelings, thoughts, and what actions you are doing in an autopilot mode, you will actually bring some coherence into your life. It becomes extremely powerful. So the foundation for personal growth and self-understanding happens when you bring your inner presence to life and consciously you pay attention to it a lot. So what does this do for you? When you bring inner presence, your performance and your success rate goes up a lot. That is something that has been proved again and again, and both brain research as well as examples that other people have applied have shown inner presence will make them better performers in school. Second, they develop certain emotional resilience and they know how to manage stress much better, and it also enhances social connections and self-expression. These are some advantages of that. How do you do that? What are some practices I recommend to bring inner presence in your life? One is mindful breathing exercises. I know some of you might be doing yoga, especially if you are coming from an Indian family. I recommend start doing some breathing exercises, pranayama exercises, not just while you are doing the yoga and breathing at home, but when you are in conflict or when you are stressed out or when you are taking an exam, or before you play your game, or while the ball is coming and you need to hit that, you need to kick that, or you are playing football, before you execute, take a breath in a mindful way and take action. You will find that success much more easily when you bring inner presence. Second, start journaling. It is extremely important that through youth you go through a large amount of ups and downs day after day. By learning to document that and journal that for your own reading and for your own awareness of what's going on inside, to put it outside, that reduces pressure on you and reduces stress for you. This is a very important exercise. I encourage you to create journals and then read what you have written. See whether you consciously feel the same way as what you have expressed from inside, and then ask yourself, do I need to talk to somebody in my family, some peer groups, or do I need to talk to a therapist or a school psychologist? Figure out, because when you journal, you are shocked at sometimes, or you are surprised sometimes by what is going on inside that you are not aware of. Once you are aware of it, then you can set a clear intention for what you want to accomplish and what you want to reach as your own personal goal, and you can do it with much less stress. I just listed 3 things, but there are lots of benefits that you can get as a youth. So these are like a bunch of them. I put top 10 I could think about, that the tools that you get to face various issues that the life presents. They inner presence will help you to deal with your life with much more ease, much more clarity, and brings a lot of growth to you. So these are some benefits that I recommend that you pay attention to by developing more self-awareness, introspection, and inner presence. Now let me just summarize and then quit at the end of in another 5 minutes. So when you bring inner presence at workplace, then again you will bring the mindfulness and the attentiveness to task at hand and to the relationships and interactions that you have with your peers or managers or subordinates, and that will make them feel like you listen deeply and you pay attention to them, you care about them. So your relationships and your 360-degree feedback will become a lot better by paying mindful attention. Second, you can catch yourself before you explode, before you say some things that you regret, or when somebody says something, instead of knee-jerk reaction, you will create a gap between their inappropriate response and your strong reaction. When you create this gap between the two, you will be able to regulate your response much better, so that you don't actually escalate the conflict, and you will be able to bring it down. Third, and most important, you will be able to do a conscious alignment of your values, your principles with the work that you are doing, so you can make better choices, and you also know when to ask for more responsibility and promotion, when you decide this is not the job that I want to do, this is not the role I want to do, and I want to get out. So because we said in this workshop is about performance, success, and gravitas, I gave a little bit more guidance in here. Impacts of inner presence at work can increase your productivity, your collaboration and teamwork, your leadership, and it can have impact on your innovation. So your performance and the outcomes are directly affected by it. And when you bring certain thoughtfulness, when you give your answers in a measured way, when you create a gap between the stimulus of other people and your response, then the gravitas is something that directly affects, and other people will notice that you are not a lightweight person. You are a person who is thoughtful, who has that executive presence, that automatically people will begin to notice that. How do we do that on a day-to-day basis at workplace? What steps can you take to be more present and cultivate a mindful situation? Here are some 6 recommendations I make. Like when you do the meetings, can you take a minute to do check-in? First take a minute to start with a silence, then ask people about their emotional well-being before you get into the agenda. When you do that, you give space for everybody to emotionally be present, not just focus on the data. Second, reflective breaks. So when you need, or when you encourage other people to take some amount of time to reset what's going on, what they heard, or the input from the boss, or input from the CEO, when our customer, when you listen to something, when you create a conscious pause or a break or a gap between what you heard and what you are going to say, that reflection time will reset your emotions to a more shantam, neutrality, and your response become much more meaningful and effective. Same thing, you need to really look at your personal growth plans. Whenever you are doing a performance review at workplace, make sure around the same time you do your own personal growth plan for yourself and say, is my PDP, personal development plan at workplace, is it matching with my personal growth plan for my life? If not, what should I ask during the meeting with my manager? And also I can make a decision, is this something that I should keep doing or go look for another job? So similarly, at the workplace, you can think about how to deal with policy support or training programs or community engagement. But at the end of this seminar, I want you to really write down on your sheet of paper as an action steps, what steps can I take to be more present and cultivate a mindful attitude in my workplace so that I can be more successful as I move into 2024. By the way, again, I will stop with this slide. So the inner presence at workplace, it is not just the 3 or 4 I mentioned. Here are top 10 list of how inner presence can affect at workplace. So there is a lot that we can do. And as I said to you in this workshop today, I tried to give you what is inner presence, how it can make a difference to families, youth, and for you at workplace, and how will it affect your performance, success, and gravitas at a very high level. I also gave you the roles that, the archetypes that bug you, like being a victim, being a judge or a critic, or being constantly distracted by various things, or being a warrior. How those 4 attitudes and mindsets will impede and reduce your inner presence. And if you can develop 4 new roles, if you can pay attention to how to be a best friend, how to be a witness, how to be a nurturer or a mother, and how to be a conscious actor. When I'm doing what I'm doing, bring my dreams, bring my actions to pay attention to. When I can play these roles for other people, when I can play these roles for myself, then your inner presence will impact not only you, but also other people whom you are interacting. So that's what I have for today. And I will close. Let's see, how do I stop? Okay, I'll stop the presentation for now. And can I let me see you, or let me see myself, so that we will take some questions and comments. And I do not know whether you want to go by asking questions in the chat session, or you want to take in any other form. Vijay, it is back.
Yeah. We will go through the questions they ask. We can still see your slides, so you can go to the sharing and then say stop sharing.
Okay, shall I stop sharing? Okay, let's see. Now, did I stop sharing?
Yes. Okay, so let me go to the questions tab. You can see that also.
Okay. Are there a lot of questions? I don't see any questions.
Not yet. Yeah, they are. Please, if you have any questions, please let us know. And if you want, Prasad ji, you can get some volunteer to talk, or what do you want to do?
Yeah. I'll be happy to take some questions. What you call. There are lots of things which are there right now. Let's see. Slides are not moving. Training full screen. I am on a journey.
They're all the old ones. There are a lot of comments about how to make it a PowerPoint presentation.
There
I'm
are
sorry.
a couple of comments that I can read. In the meantime, let us see whether anything else comes up.
Okay.
So Vijay Mandava says, I am on a journey. I realize mistakes I make during the meetings and try to refrain and be more attentive listener. See, several times people don't expect you to come with answers, Vijay. When you recognize you are on a journey, if you can do what you just said, when you realize that you have done mistakes, then if you say, I'm a guy who makes 3 presentations a week, and I should know how to make a presentation on a PowerPoint with a GoToWebinar. As a matter of fact, we have done it many times, but today I couldn't do it. So I'm realizing, what you call it, doesn't matter how many times I did, I may need to check in again. I may need to go through it multiple times. So I'm learning again to pay more attention, and I need to, next time I do that, I will try to learn that. That's all I can say. So it doesn't matter how well you know, every single time you need to pay attention and you need to do that. And if you can do that, it may not look good for other people to say, hey, you have made all the presentation, but you didn't know how to really make the PowerPoint slides move. Well,
yes.
That's what I learned today.
Yeah, and then I learned to go over with you before we even start the session. So
right. And Aparna says, inner presence is also not being flustered when the PowerPoint does not play during the presentation. You're right, Aparna. That's exactly what I'm feeling. And let's see, anything else?
We have a couple more asking.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Some more questions which have come about.
Yeah.
Okay. What are the archetypal figures like limiting beliefs? Vijay, they are archetypal figures. They generate limiting beliefs. And if you look at various limiting beliefs that we have, we recognize that we have certain role models, certain archetypes that play a role. They are like filters in our consciousness. Whatever gets filtered through, those are the beliefs that you pick them up. By changing those filters, just like in a camera or your phone, in your phone you have now something like even in my phone there are 3 lenses. One is a wide angle, one is a telephoto, one is a normal lens. Just like that, if I can begin to think about what archetypal figure I'm going to look through, if I look through mother archetype, I will see something differently. If I see from a witness archetype, then I will see some things very differently. Similarly, Sakhi, I will see something differently. And when I'm actually saying, this is my job, this is my responsibility, I'm doing it with full vitality and energy, then the work becomes very different as well. Not like the way in which I look at my taxes. Oh my God, April 15th, can I postpone it to later? Then October 15th, I am a victim. I'm being forced to do this. I have to submit this or else I'm in trouble. That attitude doesn't make it easier for me at all. So you might want to look at it and say, in each action that we do, there are limiting beliefs associated with each of the roles that we have. What archetypal figures that you are prone to and what limiting beliefs it is creating for you. When you look at it, it will make life much easier for you. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, there is one more asking. You asked about emotional well-being before starting the meeting. But please elaborate, if someone mentions that they are going through some difficulties, how do you tackle that in the meeting?
Yeah, when somebody says that they are going through something, there are 2-3 ways in which you can respond. One is, if you are in a meeting with a large number of people, if this person says, I'm going through some difficulties, you can ask the person first, are these difficulties that are connected with other people? Would you like to discuss them in the meeting so that we can address it? Because you may be going through some difficulties with me, maybe same difficulties other people are going through. Shall we discuss it so that whether other people also share their opinions, or maybe they can make some corrections, I can make some corrections. Should we go through it that way? Or the difficulties that you are going through, would you like to discuss with me privately? Shall we set up a time? By asking that question, you are giving the other person either the privacy they need to discuss it one-on-one, or the openness to express their difficulties publicly in a short way. And then once they go into it, if it is taking too much of time and if it is not connected with everybody else, then you can say, I heard you. I think these require more time and more attention than what we have in the meeting. So let me take this privately, and then I will discuss this with you so that you don't distract and you don't take away time from other people. Those are some simple but effective ways to work with somebody who express that they have some difficulties in a mindful and in a caring way. By the way, the role I played in this is a mothering role to a certain extent, because nurturing, warmth, and friendship, to a certain extent, when you bring that, reduces the weight that they are carrying, and they become more amenable to work more effectively with you, either now or in the future.
Thank you. I think Vijay Boja wants to say something, so I'm going to unmute him.
Okay.
Please unmute yourself and then.
Yeah.
Is that Vijay?
Hello, Professor. Yes, yes. Thank you for this opportunity. Hello, Professor Kaipa. How are you doing?
Fine,
and
Vijay.
it's a fantastic session. Just wanted to check, Professor. Now you have, if I take presence as two parts, one is the inner and outer part of presence.
Yeah.
Like what I understand is the limiting beliefs, and you also expressed about this archetypal figures.
Yeah.
They're leading to limiting beliefs, and that lead to some pattern of such pattern probably that we get into.
Correct.
And that comes out as our outer presence. So how do we get a congruence here between inner to outer? Yeah.
As a matter of fact, what you are saying is something that requires deeper work. For example, when I was working with you and in ISB, we did like a 2-day programs, or a 3-day programs or a 1-day program, because inner presence can be practiced. It is experiential. This doesn't come by just conceptual talk, but there are experiential work. For example, even in Bay Area, we are doing a program November 17th through 19th, a 3-day program on inner presence, so that people can develop it, where there are going to be a lot of experiences, like the Navarasas, which I mentioned, Vijay. As a matter of fact, we can do like an entire day's work on experiencing which of the emotions are affecting, where are they affecting in our body, and whose voices, how do they bring awareness and attention in us, and then taking that, doing the archetypal inner voices, doing some small group sessions. So there are ways in which we can do much deeper, meaningful work that can be done. And if any of you are in Bay Area and you want to attend that, let me know about the program. But obviously, this is something that can be developed consciously through practices, through more sessions. Like, for example, we're going to do 2 more sessions in the next couple of months so that we can prepare people for more effective families and also for a more effective 2024. So, in the next sessions, if you send us questions and if you send us some themes and topics that you want to go deeper into, I will take those and prepare my session for the next 2 in a way that will address some of these a lot more. Thank you for asking this question, Vijay.
Sure, Professor. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vijay. And
There is a question by Sudhakar Bulusu. I answer that.
He just says thank you. Can we say spiritual archetype will also help in the inner presence?
Definitely, Sudhakar. I think that, see, inner presence is a more rational, more meaningful word that people can relate to. So spiritual archetypes are, so you can talk about depending on which culture you come from, which tradition you come from, you can say connecting with your inner presence is like connecting with your spiritual self. So that spiritual self, whether you call Atma, or whether you call Brahman, or whether you call consciousness, whether you call God within you, there are multiple names. But inner presence is saying, I am more than my body, I am more than my emotions, I am more than my reflexes and my past behavior. So to get in touch with that bigger me, that deeper me, obviously is very well connected with the spiritual archetypes like Atman or Brahman and any of these. But if I use those words, they are difficult for people to deal with and apply it in day to day. So calling it igniting your genius, calling it tapping into your inner presence, igniting your inner presence, are powerful ways to bring the spiritual into practical domain. That's what we are doing.
Thank you. The next one is, how can one overcome self-doubt and negative thinking?
Excellent question, SM. The key thing is, see, self-doubt and negative thinking comes from one of the 4 archetypes which we talked about. When somebody is generating a lot of judging and critiquing in our life, if there are, let us say, our adults, they might love you and care for you and all of it, but wanting you to do the best, wanting you to stretch you, they might have said, do you think that's enough? Have you really prepared very well? And then when you didn't do the exam very well, I told you that you haven't prepared very well. I told you that you cannot just trust yourself and say, I'm done. You need to listen to me. If they were to have made comments like that, over time, you looked at it like, oh my God, I don't know myself. I'm not sure I'll ever know myself. So I have self-doubt. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Should I get married? Should I not get married? Should I go to medicine? Should I go to engineering? Should I take up this job? Should I take up that job? That is the self-doubt that comes up. When that comes up, again, what I recommend is, ask yourself, what will my best friend, a person, a peer group, one of my best friend, what will they say to me? And if I were to be a witness, knowing myself all through, if I look from outside, have I done my 100%? Do you think I'm best prepared for taking it on? Then chances are, when you bring these, what you call Sakshi, nurturer, and then best friends, Ishtasaki, and a conscious, I am ready to do whatever I've taken on, with a proper dream, with a hope and aspirations. When you do that, the negative thinking and self-doubt will begin to reduce. It won't happen the first time. It requires some practice, it requires some support system, and it requires certain exercises that you do, in variety of ways. Like, that's why I said to you, like an experiential workshop, when we do like a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day programs, in those we go into helping you to dig into your self-doubt and negative thinking. When you are in such kind of mode, what happens to you? Do you feel stuck? Or do you feel butterflies in the stomach? Or does your neck or does your back feel stressed? Where does the self-doubt show up? How do you feel? Do you feel like, I want to go, when I have the self-doubt, when I want to go back to my room and hide? Or do you say, I want to go get a glass of alcohol? Or when I want to go have self-doubt, I can't do it? Do you resign yourself and draw away from it and then not complete the task? What do you do? So more we need to know. So some can be addressed in a psychological sense. Some we need to look at your mindset in a philosophical way we need to deal with. And some amount of exercise, some amount of prayer, some amount of counseling, all of that over a period of time, you develop more success factors and you develop more positive thinking, and self-doubt will reduce over time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prasad ji. And I do not see any more questions, so I'm going to have your final word before we leave.
Sure. Yeah. The key to success in the outer world, especially in the world of AI, in the world of extreme polarities, everything is about either you're right or you're wrong. In dealing with the digital world, which is binary, I think human beings also, we have become binary. We are Democrat or we are Republican, or we are BJP or we are Congress, or we are for children, or we feel like children only should be heard, not what you call children only should be seen, not heard. So there are extreme opinions that we are developing. And with the war, with the economic situation, with various things that are going on, the trauma levels have gone up significantly for us. In this world, the inner presence, first becoming aware of my inner potential and inner genius. Second, paying attention to my self-critiques, my critical archetypes, and developing my conscious and my supportive archetypes, and doing certain small things. That's why my seminars are never about concepts, but are all about action items. What actions are you going to do at the end of this 90 minutes that you have spent with me? Can you pay attention to a few steps and practice them for next 60 days? Just November, December, till the end of the year, if you can practice some of the steps that I have recommended, chances are you are going to start 2024 with a lot more self-confidence, with a lot more success, and a better performance will come naturally to you. So that's what I wish you. I wish you wonderful holiday season, and a wonderful new year. Please tune in and again send us your questions, send us your comments, and send us the themes that you want us to discuss in the next 2 series. The application of the self-development can be through inner presence. We can focus on different themes based on your guidance. You have a wonderful rest of the day and rest of the week. Thank you again for attending this seminar. Back to you, Vijay.
Thank you, Prasad ji. It was excellent webinar we had, and it really awoke a lot of things in us. So I hope all our audience listen to is noting down all your best and the worst, and then work on those things to make yourself a lot better person in the coming years.
By the way, one quick thing somebody said, Vijay, I mean, they said, can you suggest a book or two on this topic? There are several books on this topic, SM, but my recommendation is pay attention, just actually Google it. Of course, you could even do, because of the AI tools that are available on Bard or on ChatGPT, ask them to recommend some articles and books on it. You will get some good things. I'm right now suggesting you practice a lot more than just read about it. So that's what I would suggest. Please, back to you.
Yeah, thank you. And like Prasad ji mentioned, we are already planning for a session in the first week of December. So please let us know what you want us to talk about in the feedback, or send us emails so that we know he can be more prepared to answer or address your concerns, and then we will continue from there. Thank you, Prasad ji, for a wonderful session, and I'm looking forward for the next one already. In the meantime, we are also working on several other sessions through the end of the year. We will announce them once we finalize, and then we'll send you the notifications and emails once we are ready. Please watch for those announcements, register and attend those sessions without fail. And your support is very important to us. So before you leave, please fill in and submit the feedback forms. And so I want to see you back here for the next webinar. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.